Hey guys, I'm Randy Unger, and this is another edition of Under the Radar. I want to welcome everyone watching at home, on your devices, etc. And today we have two very special guests. We've got filmmaker and actor John DePriest Anthony.
Hey Randy, how you
How's
doing?
it going? Good to see
Good, how you
you.
doing? Nice.
And fight choreographer, Mr. Chris Pytlak.
Pytlak.
Pytlak, got it right.
Yep,
Yes.
you got it.
All right.
Good to see you.
Good, yeah. So thanks for coming down. I know you had a nice trip from Connecticut. This is great. So, guys, tell us a little bit about Warhammer Cinema and Not in the Face Productions.
All right, cool. So Warhammer Cinema started off. My fiance and I we started Warhammer Cinema over a year ago. At one point, it was called Archetype Cinema, and we pretty much took over the production as a whole just to kind of reevaluate what things weren't working out for us in the film. And as independent filmmakers, the struggles, the obstacles that we go through, we figured we needed to polish up on our ethics. So when I talk about work ethics, I'm talking about like people who you're networking with, having good chemistry with the filmmakers. Like I produced several films. I starred in several low budget indie horror films, and they pretty much didn't really get up to the standards that I wanted to. Like get onto the film festival industries, get into the horror conventions. And I figure I think it's time to reevaluate the whole company as a whole. And then so we took down Archetype Cinema, turned it into Warhammer Cinema, and then we started to make these films. And which Bjorn on This Day and Lorelei Rune's Requiem marks the first two films of under this new production banner.
And these are fantasy, adventure, action films.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. It's kind of like no, Not in the Face is mainly a fight group that started years ago doing Renaissance festivals and things like that. We do all different kinds of martial arts, and we train in stage combat mostly for film and theater. And we also have our production group has a couple other things that we've done. And then we got to team up with Warhammer for Bjorn when we came in just as a fight crew for the battle scene. And I think once John saw the work ethic that we have, kind of had me, as the fight choreographer for the whole film, and became Camulus and became other things within the film as well, the editor and everything else. So
yeah. So Born on This Day is the first installment of almost like a franchise. It seems like you're building.
Yeah. So it's called Gods of the Paradox. It's kind of our version of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where you have Iron Man, you have the Thors, you have all these movies, and then they come together as the Avengers.
Right.
So we started off the series with this film called Parasitic that was under the Archetype Cinema banner, and then we just brought everything over into Warhammer. And we figure, hey, this would be really cool to spin off a series of our own cinematic universe, which is kind of different because it's like ours is based on different dimensions. So there's multiple. So I go with science fiction like Star Trek, where you got the mirror universe, you got all these different alternate realities, and each person is considered a god. So like if you watch Parasitic, which I'll be uploading that soon to everyone, for everyone to see, part of the first series of this
on Freeway, right?
On Film Freeway, yeah.
Film Freeway.
Mm-hmm. It's the introduction of what comes into this whole play of series of films, where that starts off the first, then comes Bjorn on This Day, and then from there it goes into Lorelei Runes, and then we have three other films, two that are canon into our Gods of the Paradox series, and one that's outside of that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So.
And I watched two of the films last night, and I felt a strong. There was like a Doctor Strange moment with the alternate reality. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I like that. So I'm curious, guys. What has inspired you? Like, what filmmakers or movies have inspired your crafts individually? Chris.
I would, for me as a fight choreographer, I guess my inspiration just came from watching movies, at a young age doing martial arts. But I finally got a chance to work, a few years ago, probably about eight years ago or so, with actual professional fight choreographers in the business to learn the craft, and those really are the people that are inspiring me really right now. You watch movies all the time and you see this action happen, you don't realize what goes into it at a young age, then you start doing it and you're like, holy cow, there's so much going on with this, so much to know, so much to do. So I've worked with amazing people like Jared Kirby, Kyle Rawlings, John Lennox, Bryce Birmingham. These are people out of Art of Combat out of New York and all over the United States and Australia that are have done things from like Star Wars to Spartacus and things like that. So like
and you're a stuntman as well.
So I am. Let me. I just wanted to define the word stunt for what I do, because there are stunt people who do stunts that are flipping things that involve a whole bunch of crazy things. I can do falls and some things like that, but mostly I would consider myself a fight choreographer in the sense of weaponry and martial arts and things like that. So on a film set, you're going to bring somebody in to crash through a window, to roll over a car, to do stunts.
Right.
And those are some serious stuff where people get hurt all the time. I mean, we're still swinging swords at each other's heads, so you can still get hurt. It's not like you can't, but there is a interesting line that doesn't always get talked about when you talk about stunt work.
So stunt and fight choreographer, they kind of blur a little bit.
They blur. They're the same, but I don't want to put myself in the realm of what these people who train in high falls and crashing through things and crazy bodily stunts that are insane, where I do more on the martial art and the sword work. I would come into a film and teach someone how to have a sword fight. Like if there was a duel, if you're doing Romeo and Juliet, if there's any of those kind of things, like you need sword fighting and violence that inspires your acting and all that stuff. Like that's directing the fights and directing the acting and such is something that's a little different than stunt work, although stunt work people do that as well too. It's an interesting line that the industry hasn't 100% collectively defined yet. So that's kind of why I'm saying what I'm saying there when it comes to that.
Thank you for clearing that up for everybody. I really never thought about how different they were.
You have stunt coordinators, then you have people that come in that do the other work with like the sword play, who still are under the control of the stunt coordinator who's controlling all the stunts for the film. Yeah. It's labeled differently. Like in Bjorn, the director Naveen wanted to label me as action director because I not only did the editing for it, but like did the storyboarding and all the stuff for the action sequences.
And I'll tell you, it's really refreshing to see people like you in the business as opposed to like CGIing it,
That is one thing that I heard at the premiere that we did. Somebody said, dude, I haven't seen like actual fights in a long time without a CG element. I mean, sure, we threw a couple, sparks and stuff and some cool stuff, but
for the most part, it was real.
But it was real fighting from start to finish. It was the physicality of the people doing what they could do.
Cool.
Yeah.
John, what filmmakers have inspired you? I'm curious.
I would say guys like Robert Rodriguez is a big one. George Lucas, it's, we were just talking about Lucas on the way up here. And I gotta say Brian De Palma too. So like those are like all very violent all very violent filmmakers. So and it's and these guys is just and if you take them two, right, you take Lucas and you take Robert Rodriguez, they were also categorized as independent filmmakers because they pretty much independently finance their own film projects, and as opposed to like guys that Rodriguez would do, he would actually pretty much just take anything. You say take stock in what you have, because you can make a movie about anything. You can make a movie about the studio. You can make a movie about, as long as you have someone with a camera. Yeah. I mean, look, like one of the greatest things I like about Rodriguez was El Mariachi. When I first saw that movie and found out that he was a one-man show filming this whole thing by himself, and I got the book Rebel Without a Crew. It's one of his best books that he ever came out with. And I'm reading this thing, and it's like, I'm like, wow, this guy was a guinea pig. He experimented with all types of medications. Got $10,000 for it. He shot this whole movie on a wheelchair. All he had was a wheelchair, a camera that he borrowed from somebody, and shot this whole movie in Mexico. So it's like, and then on top of that, what happened? Miramax came in. Miramax got involved in somewhat. He called it like a reboot sequel, and of course you got Antonio Banderas, and you got Desperado out of it. So, Yeah.
I'm a big fan of what's the vampire from Dusk Till Dawn?
From Dusk Till Dawn, yes, I love that movie.
So good.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Any collaboration between Rodriguez and Tarantino, it's gold.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, is fantasy your exclusive passion, or do you want to delve into different genres?
Yeah. Many years ago, I was big into the horror slasher film genre where I was all about the zombies. I was all about and of course now the market's oversaturated with zombies. It's kind of hard to make an original movie, and I started off with Parasitic. Okay, so Parasitic, which is the first of this, and you will see that on Film Frame pretty soon. Mm-hmm. It was kind of another zombie film, but I had to go about it in a different direction where it's like, okay, somebody creates a drug, or you get the miracle cure, and people start dying.
Government experiments.
Exactly, yeah. And then now they get reanimated somehow. It's just or they get things happen in a mall. So all these things start happening, and then you got iZombie, Resident Evil and The Walking Dead.
And then there was a love story about a teenage girl who falls in love with a zombie.
Yeah, exactly.
I forget the name of that one, but it's too much with the zombies.
Yeah,
too much.
So what happened with Parasitic was it just dawned on me, and I'm like, and I'll never forget, I was at a restaurant. I was with a bunch of friends of mine, and I'm like, there's too many zombies. I got to make this film a little bit unique. I got to change it up a bit. So all of a sudden, somebody had an egg, and it was on Easter Sunday, and they dropped this egg, and the thing cracked. And I'm like, aliens.
Okay.
Aliens like parasites.
Okay.
Cool. So that's what it's called, Parasitic.
Okay.
And I thought about it, and of course, I'm a big Wrath of Khan fanatic. I love the movie Wrath of Khan.
Nice.
And I remember the scene where they're on that planet, and Chekhov is getting the worms put in by Khan. The memorable secretion.
Oh, no, swirl around.
Yeah, swirl around. And that was the idea between that and this egg falling. I said, okay, it's going to be based on an alien parasite of some sort that infects the body. So I won't reveal too much for Parasite.
I want to know more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you sucked me in there. That was awesome.
But we had it was really interesting. We had a film festival recently on May 12th, and this is where we released these films. We showcased Parasitic, we showcased Bjorn on This Day, and we showcased Lorelei Rune's Requiem, and we pretty much shot it all. We showcased it in sequential order. So people were like, okay, now it makes sense where everything's coming from. Now, certain filmmakers, and sometimes you can't always make a perfect movie. So there was a lot of questioning about Parasitic. Okay, well, we had a little bit of a hard time trying to follow it. But it's one of those films that you have to watch more than once just to kind of.
I only saw them. I saw the two. Just once, and I think I do need to revisit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so with Parasitic in mind, it's one of those movies that has a different type of outline of what an invasion would start off with. Right. But mostly rather than, okay, we're here now, we got all these people climbing on top, they're all zombies, they're trying to climb up into that movie with Brad Pitt, World War Z,
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, okay, so it's you got all these movies and it's just constant, replicating the same thing over and over. So why can't you just start at the beginning with a host, with an alien, unknown artifact of some sort, and we call it the orb, and that is the, just the true cause of what is causing this invasion.
And it's okay. Yeah. Was Ridley Scott at all an inspiration?
Somewhat too, yeah. So somewhat, and of course, personal stories that kind of led into making alternate realities. So and I'll just go through the quick rundown. So you start off with Parasitic. Okay. You go into number two, I call it episode number 2, which is Bjorn on This Day. Lorelei Rune's Requiem, which is number 3, and then that leads into 2 other films. The next one is going to be called Death Mask, Dawn of the Imperfects, which is kind of like a neo-film noir, kind of like Blade Runner / Sin City. Takes place in an alternate 1950s era, but there's technology like holograms and all that, and then
really jumping all over it.
Yeah. And then that leads into our own version of the Avengers called Death Label Society, where now all these gods from each dimension come in and they battle the biggest villain, which I'm not going to reveal to you guys. You're going to have to watch it.
Yes.
And then we are also getting away from the fantasy.
Good.
And going into a different genre, more like SUV. You got the Criminal Minds, and my fiance's working on the script now called Triquatra. So it's a different type of element of a film where not supernatural, but something more like in a suspense criminal thriller type.
Like a detective
type stuff, yeah.
Cool.
Exactly, yeah. So we're kind of branching off a little bit off the fantasy for a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love fantasy, but I'm mostly, violence isn't everything.
Yeah.
So for me, as a choreographer, I'll deal with anything. I've done stuff from like World War I to fantasy stuff. So
cool. Yeah, you need to branch out.
No,
it
of
seems
course.
like you are. That's awesome. So I'm curious, what was it like assembling the cast and crew? Was it a difficult task?
So with Bjorn, we were in the process of we had to reshoot the whole thing. Okay, we ran into some difficulties with the original production of the actual film Bjorn. Now Bjorn at one point was called Coven, and it had the same premises, but certain things had to be. We had we went through a series of directors, series of rewrites, series of cast members, and all that. We had maybe few cast members that actually stayed true to it. So what happened was my fiance was working on Laura Lyroon's Requiem, and we shot that movie. And then all of a sudden, when they heard the plot for Bjorn on This Day, they were like, "Wow, I really want to get a part of this thing," And then after that led me into meeting the editor Starr that edited Bjorn on This Day, which that's how Chris and I got hooked up. And then based on his work and the Renaissance Fair, and I'll never forget, I was going to shoot B-roll.
Okay.
Just I was catching people jousting and I was buying jewelry and all that stuff, and I'm like, and so I said to Starr, I said, I want to meet I want to meet this guy you talk about. I want to because I need help with this movie. I want to get this thing. And deliberately, Bjorn took about a good 2 years to get this thing off the ground.
Wow. Okay.
So, and then after that, got it done. May 12th comes around, and it was extremely emotional. Because I was like, I'm just sitting in the theater. I'm like, oh my God. It's like we finally, and I'm just like, what? This looks phenomenal.
It was an interesting thing. That's how it kind of like for us with Not in the Face, we kind of specialize in being a someone where I could say, hey, you need a battle scene. I got 50 people I can bring. We're all trained. We can make it look real behind you, and just give you what you want. What are you looking for? And that's kind of I brought once I got involved with this project, got the script, and then kind of went through it and put together a rehearsal. Brought John down to show him some camera movements through a battle scene that we had created in our rehearsal space, and that was it, man. For us, we brought a large group of people that are trained in this kind of stuff to give people what they're looking for, really. So cool. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I did not anticipate being brought in to play the villain, but it was one of those things. We had an issue, I guess, timing wise, getting the villain to get to the rehearsal time. And as a fight coordinator and choreographer, I said, I can guarantee you this: if you have a big battle between you and somebody else, and I don't get to rehearse with them, I can guarantee you that it's probably not going to look the way you want it to look. Right. So I wrote the fight with John, and the fight between Bjorn and Camulus in the film, and after our rehearsals, they just kind of were like, listen, can't get this other actor here. He's cool with it if you want to play the villain, and so I think the casting kind of evolved in a way to with who we had, and we had specific great people. Teresa Nash plays Amara in the film. She's a fantastic martial artist. I was able to work with her in one day and show her the choreography. And is
that Death Mask's wife?
Bjorn's wife, yeah.
Bjorn's wife in the movie. Yep. Right. So it's Bjorn's wife in the movie, and I was able to give her that choreography in about 45 minutes, and then we were able to go shoot it. Right. She's a fantastic martial artist. So being able to work with good, gifted martial artists, show them the way to make it safe, which she already knew a lot of it. So it was choreography was written, give it to her, and there it is. So it evolved, I think, a lot with the casting. I know Jamie did a lot of it too for
nice.
but yeah, it's fun stuff, man.
So what do you both hope audiences take away from these movies, Chris?
Well, for me, originally I got involved on the fight end of it, so a huge part of my storyboarding and stuff went into the action sequences.
Right.
So my original goal was that's what I'm coming into the film for, and then once I got put into the editing portion of it as well, myself and Star did the editing for the film. Our hope is that, and with all the work that we did, we are hoping that they could take away a cohesive story that explains and shows a journey of these characters trying to solve whatever problem it is they're solving. I don't want to say too much, it's kind of one of those things to watch, but yeah, it really to take away a cohesive story, because I got to be honest, like there's a lot of films that independent film is hard. A lot of times you're shooting as much as you can in one day, and then you go to the editing room and you're like, we either need to reshoot all this or we need to piece together what we have.
Right.
When you're talking low budget independent film work, you're talking about, hey, shoot that whole battle sequence that you saw. We literally had an hour and a half to shoot that battle sequence and the battle sequence after it in the woods with Amara and the guards coming out at them. That was an hour and a half of shooting, but it was able to be done because of the rehearsal time.
Wow.
So my goal is that people, without knowing that, can look at it and go, wow, we put the time in ahead of time. We put in 2 months of rehearsal for the battle sequence. But to take away that, for me, that the action and the story is a cool version of an independent film that has some cool action and a good story. That's my hope. I don't know.
Yeah.
John, what do you think?
Well, I get my hope is, and Jamie's hope too, is that we want to have an audience, like just like how and just like you have the Star Wars audience, you have the Star Trek audience, you have the
zombie audience,
Aliens audience too,
right.
And it's hoping to create an audience where try to take the independent film industry in a different direction. Where I think there's a lot of independent filmmakers that are out there that they have the money, they don't have any money, they have the credibility, they have the resources, they have everything in stock. It's just a matter of how far can we get it out there without a distribution deal, because in this day and age it is very complex to get distribution on a short film. Unless you make a series of film and you sell, like, it would be cool to take Gods of the Paradox, the film, like our version of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and sell that kind of like that movie VHF or VHS, where they take a series of shorts.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, and they combine it and they actually got distribution for it. Yeah, and it's all horror stuff where it's like all these short films are filmed from all over the world, and they call it a movie called VHS. And if you check it out, it's the first series of shorts put on one movie, and they call it VHS.
So it's like an anthology kind of like
exactly, yeah.
Twilight Zone the movie.
Yeah, right.
Creep show.
Yes.
That's cool.
Cool. So that's kind of like the hope that we're aiming for. It would be sweet to get a distribution deal. You got YouTube Red that's becoming big now with the Cobra Kai series, and so it's just and it's just depending the marketing and all that. But I do see these movies having their own action figures, like what you have right here. I see a Bjorn and Camulus or
I love the mask and the red coat. That's
thanks. Yeah,
very striking look.
Yeah, thanks.
Look good. It definitely looked good.
Yeah.
So I want to talk real quickly about the Renaissance Fair.
Sure.
Chris, tell me about that.
There's millions of Renaissance
right, people
fairs
dressing
all over
up in medieval garb and
Yep.
just fighting the fields.
Yeah, depending. Yeah, a lot of it. There are some fairs that are historically accurate to a certain time period, so you might go in the 1600s, or if you're doing like more of a the 1500s, if you're doing more of like the Renaissance, Queen Elizabeth kind of thing.
Okay.
And then there's ones that are medieval all the way back to the Middle Ages, kind of a thing. So they're not in the face. My group is fighting at a fair right now called the Midsummer Fantasy Renaissance Fair, which is in Ansonia, Connecticut.
Okay.
What's
happening right now?
It's happening right now. Yeah, it's actually they're gonna be performing their large melee at probably about 5 o'clock tonight. So
you might be able
I might be able to get back. I'm trying to get back to it.
Awesome.
Make sure people don't hurt each other. But Renaissance, yeah. I mean, it's an interesting place where you can. Certain ones are volunteer actors. Some are paid actors. I also perform at Renaissance fairs with a group called the Questless Company, which is a stunt fighting show. This is my determinate. So there actually are stunts in it where we do some things like throwing people and things like that.
Oh wow!
So it's it's sword fighting, but also flipping and different things like that. Not me. I'm old. I get my time has come with that, but I'm involved in a lot of that. And so there's a lot of sword fighting jousts and things that you could see at these, and a lot of just. It's a cool experience to kind of go out and just kind of forget about modern day, and just go and enjoy people speaking in sometimes good.
Oh, they really get into it.
Sometimes good and sometimes bad accents. It's really fun.
Now, is it family friendly?
It is.
Okay, great.
So yes, it is definitely a family friendly situation. It's geared towards that. Being involved in it, I could say, obviously there's sides of it that's not family oriented. You know what I mean? Just any group you work with, you could say, oh wow, this, some people take it a little too far and things like that. But no, Renaissance fairs are by far family friendly experiences.
And now, is it based in reality, or can you do like sci-fi or
it's
Lord of the Rings kind of stuff?
Yeah, without a doubt. So the Midsummer Fair that I'm at now is a fantasy fair. It actually takes its roots from like the Tolkien kind of background. So
cool.
So you have elves and dwarves and different people come, and the cast members are dressed up like these because it's the story. They do a fantasy story as opposed to a Queen Elizabeth historical accurate story.
Okay.
So there's Robin Hood stories.
I would go as Mad Mardigan.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
yes, dude, I love that movie.
Great movie.
That is one of my.
And this is the 30th anniversary this year.
That's right. Yeah.
So there has to be a few good screenings out there, some events, maybe like a Renaissance fair type of thing.
Love it. Mad Mardigan is the man.
So guys, we got about a minute left.
Sure.
John, anything you want to plug? You want to promote the series?
Yeah. So I like to put out Warhammer Cinema. We got 3 films that we're going to be currently working on. One is being written called Triquatra, which is based on a detective suspense thriller that's being written by my fiance Jamie Giordano. We also have Death Mask, which is the 4th in the series of the Gods of the Paradox universe, and that's right now. Both these films are in development, and we're also going to be doing the film festival circuit with Bjorn and Lorelei Runes. So I've already submitted a few of them already. We're just waiting to hear that famous email saying that you've been approved.
Yes, good luck.
Yeah, thanks.
And by the way, a side note, I want to just give a mention out to Evans Ginsberg, who had a small role in Lorelei Runes.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yeah,
great job.
Yeah, he did an awesome. Yeah, I gotta say, Evan. He did it
businessman. As
a businessman, and he gets mauled by a 6'2" vampire. And like I said, one thing that you will notice is that both films have 2 different, styles. One is you look at Bjorn. Bjorn's got the fantasy, positive, and then you got Lorelei Runes, which is real dark into the. Yeah, kind of has a 90s nostalgic look.
I really want to see how it all comes together in the end. That's going to be good.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Cool. Well, guys, good luck on the series. It looks great. I want to thank you again for making the trip from Connecticut.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, yeah.
Come back again soon?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
All right, thanks.
So we're going to take a short break, but we'll be back with our film review segment, Everyone's a Critic. We'll be right back, guys.
The sun is shining. Don't you know it's raining in my heart? I feel the warmth.
Hey guys, we're back. I'm the Radar. I'm your host Randy Unger, and this is our film review segment. Everyone's a critic, and I want to welcome back two fine, upstanding gentlemen. Nick Comando, welcome back. It's been a while.
It has your segment has a name now.
It does.
Everyone's
Well,
a critic.
Every
I
now
like
and
it.
then.
I like it.
Fine, upstanding gentleman?
Yes.
How long have you known me, Randall?
Too long.
Yeah. How am I a fine, upstanding gentleman?
Dan,
You do stand
It's just
sometimes.
lies.
It's just
I
lies.
try to be nice. I try to be.
You do stand up sometimes. You were standing up before.
Yeah, that's
We were
true.
talking.
Anyway, Dan Shaggy GB, welcome back. It's
Hello.
been quite a while.
Oh, it's been, yeah.
Yeah. Fellow Ghostbuster,
Oh,
brother
that-
in arms.
Yep. Oh, God.
How's it going, Dan? Good to see
Brother
you.
proton packs.
Brother
Yeah.
Proton
No
packs.
proton
Oh,
packs today.
I've had ups and downs and all over the friggin' place. And
Have you had lefts and rights?
actually, I think I did because
Good.
Friday was a little bit eventful and it was a fun train ride home. So.
Uh-oh.
Oh, a very large lady was. Oh, the usual tangent comes right out. So a very large lady. She got a little bit. I'm gonna say pissed off.
Uh-oh.
And she kind of lost her absolute mind and decided to basically freak out, yell at everybody in the train, get up, get in somebody's face. Then somebody decided to get back in her face, spit on her.
Oh.
Jesus.
And then that made her go into her bag, get a pen out, and go running towards said people with a pen.
Jeez.
Cops were called.
Oh my God. Wait, where was it? This was on.
This was on the LAR at Jamaica Station on Friday night at 4 a.m.
Oh God.
I love the 250 train, but Jesus Christ. No. No.
Oh, Mr. Hoffman.
The only thing we can hope for is that the pen was a ballpoint.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think it was. I think it was a cookie pen.
That wouldn't have helped much, I don't think.
It was a cookie pen.
Well,
All right, guys. Before we get into our film reviews segment, I just want to give a quick mention to an upcoming action movie called Chase the Ace. And basically, it stars Matthew Rauch, Zena Wild, Nicholas Avenue, Ratul Sharma, and Erin Comer. And it will be produced by Fight or Flight Productions and will premiere at the Action on Film Festival in Las Vegas this August. Had to give that a little shout out. So it sounds like a pretty decent movie. But yeah, let's dive right into our movies for today.
dive.
Yes. So we've got two interesting movies, two very different movies.
That's actually my favorite part of the movies that we do here is that they never really have anything to do with each other.
Yeah.
Like, you literally have us watch a movie about beans, then a movie about potatoes.
It
That,
makes us
Yeah.
I love that. I really
It
do
goes
enjoy that.
left and right quick.
Yes.
So we'll
Very
do the.
quick.
I mean, I really enjoyed this movie, but we'll start off with this one because I got a sense that the other movie is more up your alley. The Death of Stalin. Now out on DVD.
Yes.
And basically, it's a satire. It's a dramedy, basically, about the aftermath of when Stalin passes away, and everyone in his cabinet, his committee in Russia, is trying to vie for the position of leader.
Yeah.
And you've got Steve Buscemi, Jeffrey Tambor, Michael Palin, Simon Russell Beale. It's a great cast. Jason Isaacs.
Yep.
Dan, what do you think of the movie?
Well, actually, I watched. Oh, I had to watch this movie twice because.
Really?
Yeah. Well, the first time I got halfway and was like, I saw the inside of my eyelids. Second time I saw it, I actually sat. I was like, all right, I gotta watch this movie. Gotta make sure. And that was at 10 a.m. this morning.
Oh, really?
I was watching it at 5 a.m. the night before, so it was kind of a little bit because my Wi-Fi was not acting correctly, so it wasn't downloading. So it was great, but I liked it. I actually liked it. It was a little. It jumped around a little much at points.
Okay.
Because but I love the fact that Steve Buscemi and
Buscemi.
It's Buscemi.
It's Buscemi apparently.
Oh.
That's the proper pronunciation.
Okay,
I just
Buscemi, and the guy who played Markov.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever remember the actor's name.
That what? Yeah. What was his name?
You're asking me.
There was Molotov. There was Markov. There was Khrushchev.
The guy who was the ministry of like all the KGB and stuff.
Oh, the heavy set.
Yes.
Okay, that was
that guy.
Simon Russell Beale.
Yeah. Okay, that guy. Okay,
prick.
he was definitely a prick, but at the same time, I loved his character because like towards like you see him like go from being like this nasty individual to okay, I'm gonna try. I think
he started off kind of nice, and then he kind of just devolved.
The first thing that happens was he punches a guy in the throat and goes, "Your teeth will grow back."
He was nicer in the beginning, but towards the end, he was
he was devolving into I'm done. I'm dead.
Yeah. Spoiler.
Well, there's no spoiler. No, I didn't say. He was devolving into I'm dead in this water because the sharks were swimming.
Yeah. Basically, he had these lists, and on these lists were people that would either get arrested or shot, and just an awful human being.
Oh yeah. Well, everybody had a list that was like he had like Buscemi had like a list that was like, oh, this guy, and his wife was taking the notes for it. That was the best part.
Oh yeah.
But I liked it.
You liked it? Okay, good.
I liked it.
Nick, thoughts?
Yeah, I a few weeks ago we watched a Wes Anderson movie, and I told you I don't get Wes Anderson.
Isle of Dogs.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've watched a couple other things that Armando Iannucci, if I'm saying his name correctly, because for some reason I started to get him mixed up in my head with the Birdman guy just now.
Inarritu.
I don't usually get his stuff. I watched The Thick of It, which was the BBC show that he produced that was kind of like Veep, and I know he does Veep.
Yeah, I've only seen Veep.
I don't usually get his stuff, but this movie I actually really enjoyed. It was just very rompy. Mm-hmm. You know, like I just felt like just very satirical, very silly, very overt in its silliness. You know, like it almost felt like 30 Rock, but with British people being Russian, and then Steve Buscemi.
I kind of got like a Monty Python vibe from it.
Well, have you ever watched 30 Rock?
Yeah, I've seen a few episodes.
The thing that I love about 30 Rock is it's so blatantly ridiculous a lot of the time, and that's what this movie felt like to me. Just blatantly stupid and just silly. Right. Yeah. Like when he reads the note and I thought he was dead. And they come out and they're like, he's on the floor, and it's like
in his own urine.
That's what you're going to focus on.
Right.
He could be dead. You don't want to say dead, and I enjoyed that too. They never said dead. They never said dying. They never said really ill or anything like that. Right. They were just like, he's on the floor. Yeah. Why is he on the floor? Right. And they were just like crying about that. And Steve Buscemi the entire time was just like, what is going on? Why is this happening? And Jeffrey Tambor I thought was very funny in it as well.
Yes.
This is one of the best screenplays in a comedy I've seen in years.
Yeah,
I can't even think of a comedy that matches this brilliance.
Like I don't think this is a spoiler, so forgive me if it is. But when they're having the funeral for him and he's dead, and Steve Buscemi ask him about this, and Jeffrey Tambor goes, don't give me orders.
Yeah.
Ask them about blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I think and then to add on to that was when they're like, just swap spaces with me. He walks out.
We can make it part of the ceremony.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
And then Steve Buscemi's just like,
I kept it, and he just clean. Somebody,
and he just slowly moves back into his spot. Like, we can make it part of the ceremony.
It was so the best. It's
Jason Isaacs was very good in it.
Oh yeah,
I really enjoyed the guy that played his son.
Like 100 medals.
That was the best part. He just had a wall of medals on his chest.
And he just kept going like, how's your family? How's your family? Sorry.
Careful with the merchandise.
I'm trying. That's okay.
Guitar makes me feel really blue.
I'm knocking things
because it's a blue guitar. The guitar is blue. That's why I made that joke.
So I'm glad you guys liked this movie. It was
I kept looking at the daughter and thinking that's Ginny Weasley from Harry Potter, but I never actually looked it up. I guarantee you it's not, because her hair was too light. Yeah, no, that's not her. But I think Bonnie Wright is the name of the character, the name of the actress that played Ginny Weasley.
Okay. Also British. So.
Yeah. I also really enjoy in these movies that they're all supposed to be Russian government agents.
Yes.
And even Stalin is British.
Is a Brooklyn Italian guy.
Who was a fireman in Valley Stream.
Yeah.
And none of them are making any attempt to sound the least bit Russian.
Right.
Like they didn't even say like borscht or something to make them to just be like, yeah, we're Russian, we eat borscht. Yeah.
I think what was it? Jeffrey Isaacs actually was the only one that attempted at one point to sound Russian.
Yeah.
And it was it was when he was like when he came in the first time and he tosses his jacket off and he cracks the guy in the he's like, how's your family? He's like, God. That joke got old quick. I hate to say it.
Domes like the Kremlin.
Yeah, thunk.
I also enjoyed the beginning of the movie when he's like, I'm getting a call from Stalin in 17 minutes. 17 minutes of when you took the call or 17 minutes when you hung up?
Oh, God, yeah.
I don't know. 17 minutes when you said it? When did I get the call? I don't know. 30 seconds? A minute ago?
Acting and the screenplay working together.
Yeah.
Beautifully.
Yeah.
You know?
And then just the silliness and like it everything they did felt very bureaucratic. It was just like, we can't do this, we have to do this, but he told us not to do that, we have to go in this direction.
All the doctors are in the gulag.
Yeah.
Let's get a bad doctor.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if it's a bad doctor, they killed him and he won't know the difference. Right. But if it's a good doctor, he's alive. It's like, my God, this sounds exactly like what would happen in the White House.
Yeah.
And they said this was basically an unveiled attempt at like a satire on Trump. Kind of like commenting on Trump's presidency. And
I definitely got that vibe. I absolutely got that vibe.
Not subtle at all.
No.
They were making it underlining, but it was just like, yeah, we're doing this.
And then Stalin calls him and goes, I want a recording of the concert. And the concert just ends. Yeah. And he goes out and he's like, no, nobody leave. Nobody leave. Nobody leave.
Dude, stay
here. Stay here.
Shoot you. Sit down. I love how he just kept yelling, I'll shoot you, sit down. He's like, but we're missing a lot of people.
And then they brought in the homeless people for the concert, and there was just that woman who was just pounding pickled eggs.
I don't think these people have ever heard
when Sarah was watching it with me at that point. She stopped like 20 minutes in, and it flew over her head.
Pickled eggs
and she was just like, there was a woman, she just laughed hysterically at that. She was like, this woman's just pounding pickled eggs. I'm like, have either of you even eaten a pickled egg? Like, of all the things to pickle, I feel like an egg is a bad idea.
No, it's not for me.
Pickled carrots, and I was like, how do you pickle
pickled carrots are actually very good. There was this Chinese restaurant I used to go to regularly, and they would give you on like a little plate as like an appetizer. They give you like pickled.
Different vegetables.
Pickles, obviously, pickled cucumber, which is a pickle.
It may sound gross, but pickled herring. I don't know if you guys have had that.
I'm not from Sweden.
Yeah, no, it's very tasty. It's like an hors d'oeuvre.
I'm sure it is.
I'll take your word for that one.
Yeah. So guys, final thoughts on Death of Stalin, Dan?
I liked it. I recommend definitely seeing it if you get a chance. Good. You kind of have to like sit there and think of it as like it's more of a word explaining, and it will be funny at the same time, because a lot of the scenes you sit there and it kind of goes over your head with like some of the politics, but a lot of it's just like, okay, we're blatantly being like, this is ridiculous. Look at how ridiculous this is.
You got to watch it a few times, I think, to absorb it. And I really wonder how realistic this was to the actual Death of Stalin.
That's actually a good question.
You know what I mean? I'm hoping. I don't know.
Especially when it's like a dictator. It's almost like, because that's really what he devolved into. Because I actually got a history lesson out of this. Because one of my friends who was watching was like, when was this? I was like, Stalin was in power until the 80s. And then she Googled it. She's like, he died in 1953. I'm like, all right, well, I graduated high school 10 years ago. And that was the last time we spoke about socialism and Stalin until this past election, when I realized half my Facebook friends like socialism.
It is a history lesson.
It really is.
And it's funny, too. So it makes it easy to digest.
Yeah, I thought it killed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Literally.
Yes.
That's The Death of Stalin. It is now out on DVD and digital. Mm-hmm. And also, you can check it out at the IFC Center in the city. So, if you're ever around that area, it's worthwhile, for sure. And
I'm going to the IFC Center.
You're not a fan of the IFC?
I like it, but it's just, it's too much of a trek.
Well, you live in Long Island.
Yeah, so it's more of a pain in my ass than anything else.
For me, I love the movies they show at the midnight screenings, but it's a midnight screening. Like, you're going to get home on the subway, like, 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
And you'll see the guy
not fun.
Basically just scratching himself in the sideway.
Yeah.
Hey, that guy's doing things.
Or have angry women with pens attacking people.
Yeah, that was the LAR. Subway system had
Jamaica train station after hours.
Oh dear.
I'll mess your life up. That was
quote?
Direct quote, but it was using the F word and the N word at the same time.
Oh, Jesus.
I've never heard the N word used so many times in my entire life.
Oh, dear.
Like, and it was more than Django.
Django. Great movie.
Well, it had that stupid D
I've
in the
never
front.
seen
So
that movie.
it was.
It's silent D.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, it really
It's
is.
it is an amazing movie, but if you are not ready to hear the N word used 87 times, you are going to be like,
like in The
what
Departed.
am I watching?
Like in The Departed when they use the F word so many times.
Classics.
I still think the Kiss Kiss Bang Bang was the best. He's like, the end quote is, "We are apologize for the Midwest that we use the F word so many times." Shut up! Don't need you to tell anymore. And then he's like, da.
I think that might have been the first reference to Kiss Kiss Bang Bang on my show.
Oh,
great movie!
I love that movie.
That was like the movie right after Downey Jr. Sobered up, I think.
Yep. Is it anything like Hug Hug Boom Boom?
No, that's a sequel.
Okay, all right.
Was it?
I don't know, maybe.
No, I just made that up.
Okay.
All right, guys. So movie number 2, final movie of today. So much different than Death of Stalin.
Start with Nick.
Start with Nick.
Start with Nick.
All right, we've got Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, the 5th installment in the Jurassic Park franchise. Basically, you're running and screaming on an island that's about to explode from a volcano, and the aftermath, and trying to weaponize dinosaurs. Nick, thoughts?
So, I have seen the first Jurassic Park, and I've seen Jurassic World because it was $5 on Blu-ray at Target.
Oh, wow.
So I bought it and I watched Jurassic World literally the day before I went to see Fallen Kingdom. And I've seen Jurassic Park. This movie concept, all 3 of those movie concepts are a bad idea because humans are freaking morons.
It's also Lost
and
World
they don't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah.
They don't know that this is a bad idea. The thing that you want to revive is not a dinosaur. And if it is a dinosaur, it's the adorable ones. And then you kill them before they get to adulthood so they don't... This stuff doesn't happen.
25 years worth of bad decision making.
Yes, like, obviously there's going to be people like, we can use this to weaponize them. This is great. We're going to use it in war. And then there's other people that are like, they're animals, hug trees. And it's just not a good idea. So, like, I went into this predisposed, just like, okay, I know they revived dinosaurs and make it a theme park.
Yeah.
Why are they doing that?
Yeah.
So I saw Jurassic World. I got the whole concept of that. The Omnibus Rex, or whatever the hell the thing was called.
They regurgitated the whole first movie.
Well, but because the first movie, this is the thing about today. There's no originality in movie making.
Right.
If it worked in 1995, it'll work in 2015 because nostalgia, and Chris Pratt is beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to hang our hat on. So when I saw Fallen Kingdom, I was like, okay, what can they possibly do in this movie to extend it out and make a sequel? And okay, I get what they're doing. I do. But it just seemed awfully unnecessary.
Right.
And also, Toby Jones. Where did he get into this?
Wait, which one's Toby Jones?
He was the auctioneer.
The little guy.
Yeah.
I was surprised when I saw him.
As somebody who's watched Doctor Who and other British movies, he's in a lot of stuff. And he was also the doctor in... Yes, and he was also in Captain America. He was the doctor who worked with Red Skull.
He always plays like a slimy
Zola.
corporate...
He always... Well, I mean, look at him.
Yeah.
That guy, I look at him, I'm like, he's selling Xanax to 15-year-olds. So...
Oh, God.
Jesus.
He just is... Listen, I'm on a roll right now. He just is very creepy.
Xanax to 15-year-olds.
Don't do that. That's a bad idea. But he just... It seemed... I mean, I was entertained by it.
Yeah.
And they kind of flipped the script a little bit. If you watch the other Jurassic Park movies, and I've seen the original one in the 90s and Jurassic World, it starts off slow and it builds. This one hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I was cool with that.
Okay.
I didn't really want to watch another Jurassic Park movie where it was just like, all right, this guy's sneaking around, that guy's sneaking around. Oh no, look, a dinosaur killed somebody. I didn't want to see that again. So I liked how they kind of flipped the script on it, but it also just felt unnecessary.
The Lost World Jurassic Park in '97, Goldblum.
Right.
It didn't dive right into the action, but you saw dinosaurs within 15 minutes.
Right.
And I think that was a really well made movie.
I did feel really bad for the dinosaur that was left on the island. That was sad.
With the teardrop.
Yeah.
Oh.
As I've gotten older, I've become more emotional with stuff. Where like 10 years ago, I'd be like, "That's sad," and now it's like, "I don't like what's happening."
Actually, the whole thing. Like, I after I saw it, I'm like, I thought of this big whole thing, and like, it's like, I gave the Brontosaurus a voice, which was, I was like, God, this is a bad thing.
I poured one out for the Brontosaurus.
Yeah, I had to.
I did.
It was like that whole idea behind, like, hey guys, I thought you said the boat was at 2:00. No, it's at 1:45.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. You know,
exactly.
Fiery smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, dinosaurs can't swim. It's so terrible.
Yeah.
Well, some can. So,
Well, that thing's got a gigantic neck. You would think it could sink
You'd
like 20
think
feet under
it
the
would be.
water, and its head would still be like, it'd be like doggy paddling.
Yeah.
Poor Brontosaurus.
Look at this. But then, no, I had a whole voice with like that. I'm like, oh, you guys, okay, I guess you guys are leaving me. I'll stay on the island. There's nothing wrong with it.
Why does your dinosaur sound like Rick Moranis?
I don't know.
I'm not complaining.
At the time,
Honey,
I
I'm
was
shrinking.
thinking of Rick Moranis.
Honey, I feel like I'm shrinking. It might be because of all the smoke around me.
Maybe.
I hate yogurt.
Oh yeah, I'll just make friends with the lava, so no worries. Oh God, hot lava! Oh,
Why is there a plant telling me to feed it? Why is it calling me Seymour?
What did you guys think of the two young new additions?
They were fun. I enjoyed them.
Daniela Pineda, the sassy Latina girl.
Franklin made perfect sense for a movie like that because like
was amazing.
there's way too much of everybody just being cool with what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You're working with live dinosaurs. They were killed by a meteor thousands and millions of years ago. How could you not be terrified working there?
Yeah.
Like that would be me. I'd be like, "Where's the T-Rex? Where's the T-Rex? Was that the T-Rex?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a rat. Okay.
That's
all
a
right.
normal response.
All right. That wasn't a T-Rex. That was a rat. Is it a prehistoric rat? No, it's a normal rat. Okay, we're good.
It's a New York rat.
Hey, we have rats here. We should probably do something about that. Yeah, just
New York rat.
Nick.
That's usually the case when you gotta like think about it. It's when New York.
There's no rats in the studio. That was
a whole.
I was doing a bit.
What do you think of Jeff Goldblum and B.D. Wong coming back?
I've never heard B.D. Wong yell. I've also never seen him do anything aside from Law and Order SVU. So it was a little strange to me.
Wedding planner in Steve Martin. Father of the Bride 1 and 2.
Right, remember how I've said I've never seen movies? That movie I've never seen. But no, I mean it made sense. I mean for the continuity that they were going for, it made sense to bring B.D. Wong back. And I mean at some point there's going to have to be some sort of government involvement with this because
make him a villain. That was unfortunate.
Well, because he lived it firsthand and he's like, why are we still doing this? To me, Jeff Goldblum felt like the voice of reason, like this happened 20 years ago. It happened again. Why are we still doing this? Like I talk about it with sports. We know too much. When I talk about baseball, we know too much medically about like pitchers' arms and stuff. It's like throw from this angle, don't throw from that angle. But the angle they don't want you to throw from is more natural than the angle that you're throwing from. Thus, you blow out your shoulder and your elbow. And it's we know too much. And that, I think, is his overarching point. We know too much. We've seen too much. We need to stop doing this.
He is the only voice of reason.
Yeah.
Everyone else is dying around him, and
at some point, somebody's.
Yeah, that makes me mad about the Jurassic Park movies. Like, why are they not learning from their mistakes yet?
No,
25 years.
You want to talk about a commentary on humanity? The Death of Stalin was a commentary on. This is a commentary on just everybody's a freaking idiot.
Yeah.
This would be the time when PETA comes in and go, "You guys are idiots. we may advocate like stuff that it's like, save the animals." This would be them coming in and giving them the finger and going, bye.
Yeah. It's like, there's an expression like, sure we can do it, but should we do it?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And this seems like, okay, we can. Like I saw on Twitter a couple days ago, somebody retweeted something and it was like, scientists say we could revive dinosaurs 5 years from now, and somebody retweeted it with the comment, "There's literally 5 movies of how this is a bad idea." And it's like, it's just like, okay, great, you can revive a dinosaur. Why don't you focus on curing cancer? Why don't you like push the dinosaur stuff to the side? We don't have a dinosaur deficiency problem at all.
Dinosaurs had their shot.
Exactly.
If we're not careful, they'll be here after us.
Yeah.
But you forgot to say a lot more ums and make sure that you jump into
the fly, cats and dogs.
And the chaos.
I have a pop doll of me shirtless.
Why can't they bring back Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Goldblum and have the 3 of them just like going crazy on the island?
Well, she's married with
Didn't
a...
Sam Neill die in the first movie?
No, he was in the third movie.
Oh,
the lawyer
okay.
got eaten.
Was the guy that played the doctor in this? Was the guy that played the doctor in this movie?
Which doctor?
Oh,
the guy in the wheelchair.
Oh,
wasn't he the farmer from Babe?
Oh yeah, James Cromwell.
He was the farmer from Babe, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Wasn't he?
That's a movie I've seen.
In Star Trek First Contact.
Yep.
As
I've only seen Star Trek Third Contact.
Okay, not the first or the second.
No.
After the first second, I was like, no. Third, yeah.
The first
absolutely.
Contact assumes no consent. The second and third assume consent. So.
Yeah, that's when you know stuff's going down.
So guys, do you think the Jurassic Park franchise is gonna keep going forever?
I mean, the ending clearly sets up a third movie.
Yeah.
It has to. I think they probably do a trilogy like they did in the 90s, and they move on. I mean, listen, nothing is original anymore, and this movie is going to make millions of dollars, no matter what our opinions of it are.
It's like
I saw
Michael
people.
Bay.
Yeah,
for the last Transformer movie, he straight out said, I could put dog shit on a plate and you'll still go see it because I'll blow something up behind it.
We talked about
Michael Bay.
We were talking about it before we started recording. The Rock, he knows his niche. He makes the movies he makes. They make money.
Right.
This movie is going to make money no matter what we say about it.
Yep.
I saw people from Nerdist and stuff on Twitter critiquing the movie before it came out. This movie's bad. This movie's not good. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. Which I don't think it was a bad movie.
No.
Yeah.
But
it's fun.
It's going to make money no matter what we say about it.
Right.
I think it was. I don't think it was a good movie. I don't think it was a bad movie. I thought it was average.
It was. It is what it is. Like,
It's one of those movies.
Than Jurassic World, to be honest with you.
I like Jurassic World a lot more because I felt like the story, like Jurassic World, made sense as a standalone movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could watch that movie and be like, yeah, they're not going to make a sequel to this, and I understand why they wouldn't. The place is destroyed. What are they going to do?
Right.
Then they made the sequel, and I'm like, okay, there's totally going to be a third one, and it's totally going to have something to do with something that was mentioned in the movie that I don't know if it's a spoiler or not, so I'm not going to say it.
Yep.
But Jurassic World to me works as a standalone movie. It does. But, they have to make franchises today. That's the whole... It's franchises, it's universes, it's all that stuff.
They're printing money left and right. Like, that's
absolutely. People are going to see these movies no matter what we say.
I'll tell you, though, I was surprised a bit by the second half of the movie taking place in a mansion.
That was interesting. That was interesting. That was interesting. That was very interesting.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like when it hit that, I was like, well, hello, Resident Evil.
Yeah. I get the vibe from that.
Yeah, so. I was like, this is stupid. Like, I just felt like the drama and all the things kind of like condensed, and it was like it was like, what the hell's going on? Like,
let's see how we can top the last dinosaur.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And the next movie, then the next, they're gonna keep going.
Oh, we got a better dinosaur now.
Yeah.
Really? This is not gonna blow up in your face.
This dinosaur is
fantastic.
This dinosaur is on wheels.
Yeah. On a wheelchair.
He's got a wheelchair.
So guys, final thoughts. Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
Clearly sets up a third one.
Yep.
That we probably will see and will make millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Dan?
Don't see it.
Don't see it. No.
Don't see it. No. I spent paying $16 for this movie was a pretty much the dumbest thing in the world.
See it as a matinee. You'll pay less, and it'll probably match up more to the ticket price than paying full.
Oh yeah, because it was like
I paid $14 for my ticket, so
I
paid $2 less.
I got mine through Fandango, so that $2 extra surcharge jabbed me right in the.
No, we didn't do 3D.
Absolutely not.
Me neither.
No.
But no, I basically was paint by numbers Jurassic Park. 20 minutes, the first 20 minutes jerking off to scenery, middle it going, oh, scary dinosaurs, and then, oh, dinosaurs are sad, and then, ooh, scary dinosaurs, and then, actually, I'll throw this in. I won't spoil what it was. I was kind of upset about the twist they threw in there about one of the characters. I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be that. Holy oh my god. All of a sudden, no, we're going this way. You!
And with that, so guys, that's Fallen Kingdom. I should also mention that on June 15th, I had the honor of attending a really cool event. It was a comedy show called Hold On to Your Butts. And it was at the People's Improv Theater. Basically, they reenacted the entire first movie of Jurassic Park with like cardboard cutout props, random two guys doing the whole movie, doing every character for like an hour and a half. Hilarious. Really awesome show. It was done by recent cutbacks at the Pit Theater in the city. So
nice.
Hopefully they'll do it again soon. It was a great show, and I just want to give those guys a little shout out. Hold on to your butts. So guys, we have like 30 seconds. Anything you want to plug?
At Nick Comando on Twitter and Instagram, wrestling podcast about wrestling, and I'm coming out with a movie podcast soon. The end.
Thank you.
All right. Shaggy GB. That's my cosplay handle. I have D2 Comic Culture, the low budget one because we are poor. And I'm coming out with a new YouTube channel, so watch both my Facebook page and also my what do you call it pages?
Yeah.
What do you call it?
Cosplay pages.
All right,
I'm sorry.
Shaggy GB.
My brain just stopped.
He's a good man. Yes.
With little to no up here.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here. This has been awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank everyone watching at home and on your devices. I'm Randy Unger. This has been Under the Radar, and we'll see you next Sunday. Take care.